Well, here I am, more or less, at the trailhead for the John Angel Smith Trail. The trailhead officially, I think, is up there a ways. There's a little parking lot, but the road, and it's a road that's been used by cars, comes on down. There's no gate or anything. And so I came down and parked right here. And drove down there just a ways, but it gets really steep, so I decided I would hike that. So around 2 o'clock and perfect day, 75 degrees or so, and all blue sky up there. Here's where the John A. Smith Trail really starts dropping, and it would be, I could have made it at least this far with my Subaru, but not worth it. Well, I was wondering why the Park Service didn't gate it, and I come to this kind of a small, maybe parking area where people have parked, I believe, based on the tire tracks. And then right below it, there is a gate. Precipitous is the only word to describe how this road trail drops. But now I'm down to the bluffs. And going through the bluffs, there's a big one there. Here's a hell of a overhang right beside the trail. Trail's on the right. And there's a fire ring. Here's the junction of the River Trail East and the trail I came down on. River Trail East goes that way to Station Camp, but I'm going to the left here to toward Angel Falls. Camp somewhere between here and there. The trail is terrible. It's basically a very washed out old road. I think this may be the only significant creek crossing. It's fairly near the river, which is just downstream there it is. I think I can cross it dry, but we'll see. I'm doing a fairly short backpack, started on the plateau bluff up there, and really steep descent down here. And I'm going to camp somewhere down here along the river and probably day hike up to the Angel Falls. There's the river right there. Well, I went on up the trail a good ways, at least a quarter of a mile, to this creek and past it, but just about everything is wet. The river recently was flooding up to the level of the trail, except in a very few spots. Well, here's the best I can do camping-wise. That's not a bad spot right there. It's a slightly damp, but my goodness, down there at that log, the elevation drops like 3 feet maybe at the most, and then everything is really wet below that. So not a lot of good campsites along here right now. And it's hard to imagine that river way down there coming up here. But over the last week it was up to right over there. Well, it's around 4:30, and I've got tent set up. Got a place to have dinner here, and I'm going to walk up the trail a ways to get water at a creek, and then on up probably to Angel Falls. Here's my water source. It's a small stream, totally within the park, so it ought to be almost drinkable without treating it, but I am running it through my filter, gravity-fed filter. This is a very unused trail. You rarely see anybody. But I think maybe a couple of guys have preceded me. There are the footprints actually going both ways. There's going up and there's going downstream. Almost looks like a whale out there in the Big South Fork. The river is moving pretty good. Moves left to right. and it's not as muddy as right after the rains. Trail is not really a good one. Some blowdowns, some bad places here and there, but it's fairly level along the river here. All of a sudden, again, some really steep climbing, this time going up instead of down. And we go up and then, I guess, down toward the falls. Well, up there is the overlook, I think, and down here is Angel Falls. I've canoed this several times, this part of the river, but always portaged around Angel Falls. Huge rocks falling off the bluff. And this is the lower part of the falls. The actual worst part is, or hardest part is up there. And I'll try to get up there in a second. And there's the real crux of the falls. Oh, there's Angel Falls. Must have some relationship to the trail name, John Angel Smith. Beautiful place. River and rocks. And bluffs up there. This trail and area are amazingly quiet. A few birds, the river when I'm down close to it, and now I'm way above it, and an airplane now and then. That's about it. It's getting towards 7 o'clock, and I'm finally back at the campsite. Really tired. My old legs are not as good as they used to be, and probably did 2.5 miles or so, maybe a little more, going up to the waterfall. And now for dinner. Well, I really screwed up. I forgot a gas canister. And this is what I'm trying to do to get a little, maybe warm water. I don't know if it'll be boiling. So we shall see. Well, the fire worked pretty well. It didn't boil, but it got pretty hot. And I'm eating a popular trail thru hiker meal. It's a Lipton soup and some Idaho and Baby Reds potatoes with a little cheese in it, and it's really quite good. A good night last night. Very quiet, except for the murmuring of the river and a few birds. Otherwise, totally quiet. And this morning is great. It's going to be cloudy a bit today, I think, but otherwise good, although I've got a steep hike out. And I got up around 7:30 and got in the tent around 8:30, a long time, but and I slept much of that time. And this morning, I, as I mentioned, forgot my fuel canister, so I'm heating some water on a really tiny little fire there. You could barely see the remnants of it when it died out last night. And it does heat the water, although I may not heat it all the way to boiling. And getting packed up and ready to head out. And this isn't a great one. It's okay. And the sand, I don't like camping on sand. It gets on everything. But otherwise, quite good, and certainly very wildernessy with all that forest up there. And up above that are the bluffs, of course. One of the nicest things this morning was waking up to so many birds. According to Merlin, I heard a red-eyed vireo, Carolina wren, hooded warbler, Carolina chickadee, and indigo bunting. It's around 9:30 and I'm getting ready to head out. I'm not looking forward to the climb out, but the place is great. So much green forest and the river right down there. My fire, I think I've done a good leave no trace deal. It was right there and you really can't tell there's a fire. So on up the trail. River's way over there, way down there, and this trail here is totally muddy. So you can see how high the water got, and it got even even higher than this. There's some debris that was left, but like right there is nothing but mud. Here's the only difficult part of the hike out, other than the steepness, crossing what's called Bill Creek. Nice little waterfall up there. And amazingly, I'm about 50 yards or more up this creek, and the flood was up here when the river was flooding. See the leaves of all those plants are covered with dirt, mud. As I've mentioned, it's an old road used for logging, or probably. And here I'm coming up to the bluffs. That's one impressive bluff there. And it goes all the way over to the right. There's the gate, and amazingly, some people drive down to here. That car from Kentucky. For the next 100 yards or so, the trail is still pretty bad, but apparently you can drive it. Not even sure that's a four-wheel drive. But I saw only two people. There's a couple. They were hiking down today. I met them down toward the bottom, and they were going to go up that creek, Bill's Creek, and they say there's a waterfall up it that they were going to. By 11 o'clock, I'm out. And now I think I'm going to go looking for some Southern or Kentucky lady slippers. After the backpack, I decided to go see if some Southern or Kentucky lady slippers were still along a trail, which I'll not disclose because of the people might come and dig them up, and that I saw way back in. And so at the trailhead, actually a couple of women told me exactly where they were, and they'd come here just to see them. And so anyway, and actually I walked right by some of them here. Southern or Kentucky lady slippers. And down here I think are some more. Yeah. These are actually the ones I saw after passing the others. These lady slippers are much bigger than the pink lady slipper that we see much more frequently in the Southern Appalachians. They're all beautiful, incredibly beautiful. At the end, I'm going to include some still photographs of first the Southern lady slippers, then a Shasta daisy, then mountain laurel, and finally a coreopsis.